sunrise, the first cartel enforcer was found zip-tied to the Welcome to Hope Valley sign. By sunset, 3 more had been discovered, each one a senior figure in the Azteca cartel, each one taken down by someone they never saw coming. Locals whispered about the strange wheelchair tracks in the dirt next to each captured man, but no one suspected Maya Blackwood, the quiet woman who'd moved into town 5 years ago after what everyone assumed was a tragic accident. People brought her casseroles, waved politely, wondered why she lived alone, why she always seemed to know a little too much about cartel activity creeping up from the border, and why her eyes looked like they'd seen war. They were about to find out. Before we dive deeper, let us know in the comments where you're watching from, and if this story moves you, hit subscribe, because tomorrow's episode, it's something special. That morning, the Texas sun was already blazing down as Maya moved through her western field, checking irrigation lines with practiced precision. Her wheelchair, custom-built with off-road wheels, rolled smoothly across the dirt paths. This farm wasn't just home, it was a fortress in plain sight. She spotted them before they arrived. 2 black SUVs barreling down the access road, tinted windows flashing in the sunlight. No logos, no dust from town, trouble. Maya didn't flinch. Her hands simply slipped under her armrest to the hidden compartment. The cars stopped. 4 men stepped out. She instantly recognized the one in front, Dante Orga, regional lieutenant of the Azteca cartel. He looked older than in the dossier, but that serpent tattoo curling up his neck was unmistakable. "Senora Blackwood," Orga called, his voice soaked in fake politeness. "We've come to talk business." Maya tipped her hat, slowly scanning their formation, 2 close to him, 1 near the vehicles. But it was the rustle in the tree line that confirmed her suspicion, at least 3 more flanking her blind side. "My farm's not for sale," she said evenly. "Never has been, never will be." Orga's smile tightened. "The situation has changed. Water rights in this region are complicated. We're offering fair compensation." She'd heard that line before. In another life, compensation meant compliance, and compliance meant giving up her land so the cartel could use her water access to push operations north. "There's nothing complicated about my water rights," Maya replied. "This land's been in my family 3 generations." One of Orga's men stepped forward, fingers drifting too close to a hidden sidearm. "You don't understand, woman. This ain't a negotiation." But Maya had been waiting years for this moment. Her chair turned slightly, just enough to give her the angle she'd rehearsed hundreds of times. "No," she said calmly, "it isn't." What happened next felt like a blur. The man went for his weapon, but her hand was faster. His wrist was locked, twisted, and his body thrown to the ground with terrifying efficiency. Maya's chair became the center of a storm, years of adapted combat training turning what others saw as weakness into raw leverage. Orga stumbled back in disbelief. His expression cracked for the first time. Then came the sound of sirens. Sheriff Trent Hawthorne's patrol car crested the ridge, right on time. Maya had called the second she saw the dust trail. She knew this wasn't the real attack. It was just a message. "We'll continue this another day," Orga growled as he retreated. "Think carefully, Senora. Accidents happen on farms." As the SUVs disappeared into the horizon, the sheriff pulled up beside her, face tight with worry. "You okay, Maya?" "Just another day in Hope Valley," she replied with a faint smile, already memorizing license plates, facial features, and weapon types. "They'll be back," she added. "You knew they were coming," the sheriff said, watching her closely. "I've learned how to read the signs," she said, turning back to her work. "Get your deputies ready, Trent. Hope Valley's about to change." As he drove off, Maya allowed herself a rare smile. The trap had been set 5 years ago. It had taken that long to build trust, maintain her cover, and turn this quiet patch of farmland into something far more dangerous than anyone realized. They didn't see a threat. They saw a disabled farmer. But what they really found was the last person they should have underestimated. And that was their biggest mistake. The limitations of her wheelchair had long since been turned into weapons. Years of adaptive combat training had made her chair not a burden, but an advantage. As the wind stirred the dry Texas air, a low rumble echoed in the distance, thunder, or cartel vehicles regrouping. Maya Blackwood smiled faintly, remembering what her old CIA instructor used to say. The deadliest predator is the one they never see coming. The game had officially begun. Fluorescent lights buzzed quietly overhead in Hope Valley's medical clinic as Dr. Amara Patel examined Maya's legs. 5 years of checkups had built trust between them, but Maya never said more than necessary. Muscle tone looks solid, Amara noted, adjusting the chart. Whatever you're doing on that farm, keep at it. Maya gave a polite smile, though her mind flashed back to that morning's confrontation. Just staying busy, she replied. Helps with the pain. Amara sat down, clipboard in hand, fixing Maya with a look that cut through polite lies. I saw Orga's SUVs heading toward your property this morning. The whole town's buzzing. People need something to talk about, Maya said, deflecting. Her hand brushed the old bullet wound on her thigh, unseen but never forgotten. The touch triggered a memory. Mexico City, 5 years ago. The mission that changed everything. Her team had tracked a massive weapons shipment to a cartel warehouse. The intel had been perfect. The plan airtight, until it wasn't. You went somewhere else for a moment, Amara said gently. Just thinking about harvest season, Maya answered with ease. Lying had become second nature. Outside, Hope Valley's main street carried on like any other day. Maya wheeled past Peterson's general store where old Harold sat on his bench like always, eyes curious, but words silent. He tipped his hat. A young woman approached, Nina Delgado, barely in her 20s, but already carrying the weight of someone who'd lived through too much. Miss Blackwood, she said, I heard you might need help on the farm. Maya looked her over. New faces in Hope Valley were rare. Who told you that? Sheriff Hawthorne mentioned it. I just moved here from El Paso, trying to start over. Maya saw it instantly. The eyes of someone running, the stiff posture. The way she subtly shielded her jacket pocket, likely hiding immigration papers. Familiar signs from Maya's CIA past. You ever worked on a farm? No, ma'am, but I'm a fast learner, not afraid of hard work. Maya nodded toward her truck. We'll talk at the farm. I don't do business in town. On the drive back, Maya noted everything. Nina scanned side roads, watched rear mirrors, clocked every exit. This wasn't someone desperate for a job. This was someone seeking protection. As they neared the property, Maya noticed fresh tire tracks near her fence. Cartel surveillance. She didn't even flinch. First rule, she said. See a vehicle you don't recognize, you call me immediately. Nina's expression shifted. You're worried about the cartel. Should I be? Maya asked, already knowing the answer. Their eyes met. No lies left. I testified against them in El Paso, Nina admitted. Witness protection offered me Ohio. I chose here. Maya processed it quickly. Hawthorne didn't just mention a job, did he? He said you might understand my situation. A faint sound caught Maya's ear, an engine approaching slow. Her fingers moved to the joystick, turning the chair toward the barn. Inside, she said. They made it just as a black SUV rolled past the edge of the property. Maya opened a hidden panel on her wheelchair, revealing a monitor, camera feeds lighting up with angles of the perimeter. Nina's voice was quiet. You're not just a farmer, and you're not just looking for a job, Maya replied. The screen showed more movement, in the trees, spotters, setting up positions. They're watching the farm, Nina said. They've been watching, Maya confirmed, testing how fast we respond, measuring patterns. Nina looked her straight in the eye. I didn't run from them just to keep running. Without another word, Maya hit a button. A wall in the barn shifted, revealing a hidden room, tactical gear, surveillance systems, encrypted comms. Then let's talk about your real resume. Before Nina could speak, Maya's encrypted phone buzzed, a text from Sheriff Hawthorne. 3 more farms threatened, owners asking for a meeting tonight. Looks like you'll see why I really hired you sooner than expected, Maya said. You good at taking notes? As the afternoon sun stretched across Hope Valley, Maya and Nina prepared the barn for the secret meeting. One by one, the other farmers would arrive, all of them targeted by the cartel's water rights scheme, none of them knowing that the woman they'd seen in a wheelchair every Sunday had been preparing for this moment for 5 long years. They thought Hope Valley was an easy target. They thought the farmer was vulnerable, but they didn't know they had just walked into a trap. "You've been planning something big," Nina whispered. Maya smiled. "Let's just say, the harvest this year might look a little different." Her surveillance feed lit up. 6 black SUVs, headlights off, moving in a coordinated formation. "Harvest season came early this year," Maya whispered. The time for shadows was over. Hope Valley was about to discover who had been guarding their land all along, and the Azteca cartel was about to remember why they once feared the ghost they thought they killed in Mexico City. Before we continue, if this story hit you, hit that subscribe button. It helps us keep bringing you stories like this, and trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next. As the sun dipped behind the Texas hills, dust-covered trucks rolled quietly into Maya's barn. Their lights stayed off, trying not to draw attention. A dozen local farmers crowded around the workbench beneath hanging lamps, the air thick with oil, tension, and the weight of fear. "They threatened my grandkids," Gus Whitaker said, voice shaking with anger. "Said they knew what bus they ride. We just gonna let this happen?" Maya wheeled into position at the head of the table. Her eyes scanned the room, faces weathered by sun and years of honest work, faces that now looked to her for answers. Nina stood silently in the shadows, just as Maya had instructed. "They're moving faster than expected," Maya began. "This isn't just about water rights anymore. They want full control, our land, our roads, distribution corridors." "How do you know?" someone challenged. "Because I've seen this play before," she said, laying a county map across the table. "Every farm they've targeted sits on a key transit route. They're building a logistics network." Sheriff Trent stepped forward. 3 more reports today. Same tactics, threats to family, accidents, property damage. "We should go to the feds," said Bill Henderson. "And tell them what?" Gus shot back. "We've got no proof, no names, no one willing to testify." Maya's fingers unconsciously brushed the scar on her leg. "The feds won't move without evidence they can't ignore." "So what?" Bill said, his voice breaking. "We just give up?" "No," Maya said, her tone sharp and steady. "We give them what they don't expect. Organized resistance." She hit a switch, and a projector cast images across the wall. Surveillance photos, vehicle models, cartel movements. The room fell silent. "Every one of our properties needs upgrades. Cameras, motion sensors, reinforced gates. I've got contacts who can help us get the gear." "That's expensive," someone muttered. "You can't afford not to," Maya replied. "They're watching us, counting on fear to keep us quiet, but they made one mistake." "What's that?" Gus asked. "They think we're just farmers." She smiled, but it didn't touch her eyes. "They have no idea what we can do when we stand together." On cue, Nina stepped forward, handing out folders, basic protocols, communication trees, emergency plans. Everything they'd need to begin pushing back. Some farmers were skeptical. Some looked ready for war, but all of them saw it now. This woman in a wheelchair was something else entirely, something they couldn't quite define, but knew they could trust. Outside, in the gathering dark, Dante Orga sat watching through military-grade binoculars. His phone buzzed. "No more warnings. Send a message." Back inside, Sheriff Trent pulled Maya aside. "Got word from my contact in El Paso," he said grimly. "They're moving heavy weapons north. This isn't intimidation anymore. They're prepping for war." Maya nodded. "Good. That means they're scared." "No," Trent said. "It means they're desperate." "And desperate cartels make examples." Nina rushed in with new photos. 3 more vehicles, back roads, observation posts. They're surrounding the farms. "They'll hit one of us tonight," Maya said without hesitation. "How can you be sure?" Trent asked. Because that's what I would have done, she answered. She turned to the group. Everyone goes home now, no convoys. Take back roads, they're watching the main routes. As the others filtered out, Gus lingered. You're holding something back, Maya, what aren't you telling us? The less you know, the safer you are, she said. Just trust me, I've read this playbook before. Once the barn was empty, Nina helped Maya activate the night defenses. They're going to come for you first, Nina said. You're the one leading this. Maya shook her head. They'll go after someone they think is weak, someone who won't fight back. Her phone buzzed. An encrypted message. She read it in silence, jaw clenched. The cartel's target was confirmed. It was personal. Dante Orga's brother, the one Maya had taken down 5 years ago in Mexico City. The one whose death started this. He hadn't been hunting farmers. He'd been hunting her. In the distance, an engine roared, then another. Headlights lit up the horizon. Maya's surveillance feed counted 6 SUVs, moving in formation. They're not here to threaten anymore, Maya said, eyes locked on the screens. They're here to send a message. Then what do we do? Nina asked. Maya's eyes didn't waver. We stick to the plan. The trap was set. Now it was time to spring it. She faced the barn's main entrance, wheels locked, eyes steady, weapons hidden within the frame of a machine no one ever took seriously, until now. The time for hiding was over. Dante Orga's voice boomed from a megaphone just outside. Come out, Miss Blackwood, let's finish our morning conversation. Maya tapped her secure comms. Trent, you seeing this? Already en route, came the sheriff's voice. 5 minutes. Make it 3, she replied, eyes narrowing as more armed men stepped into view. Lightning cracked across the horizon, the storm rolling in like a warning from the sky. But the thunder wasn't the only sound that night. Hope Valley was about to witness a war, and Maya Blackwood was done playing defense. The barn lit up in stark flashes as the storm crept closer, rain tapping against the roof, mud swallowing footsteps outside. Maya's surveillance feed showed 12 armed men, more than expected, but still manageable. This is your last chance, Miss Blackwood, Orga called. Don't make this uglier than it has to be. Maya's voice cut cleanly through the rain. You're trespassing, Mr. Orga. I suggest you leave while you still can. The answer came in glass. A window shattered under gunfire, shards exploding across the floor. Nina ducked instinctively behind the workbench. Maya didn't flinch. That's your only warning, Orga yelled. Next shots go somewhere vital. Maya's fingers moved with purpose, activating systems built over years in secret. The barn's lights snapped off, pure darkness. Only lightning flashed now. What are you doing? Nina whispered. Leveling the field, Maya said calmly. When I give the word, hit the north breaker. Outside, Orga's men crept forward, weapons raised. One of them, Javier Reese, hung back, moving just a little too cleanly, too measured. Take the doors, Orga ordered. One man stepped forward, hand outstretched toward the barn latch. Now, Maya said. Nina flipped the breaker. Floodlights exploded to life, blinding and brutal, cutting through the storm. In that moment of chaos, Maya's wheelchair surged forward, faster than anyone expected. The first attacker didn't stand a chance. She slammed into his legs, spun, and disarmed him in one fluid motion. His weapon hit the ground, useless. She's armed! Someone shouted, but the lights were too strong, making it impossible to aim. Maya danced through the barn like water, spinning, striking, flowing from one engagement to the next. Her wheelchair wasn't a limitation. It was an engineered weapon, an extension of years of combat adaptation. In seconds, 4 more men hit the ground. Burn it! Orga screamed. Burn everything! Gasoline fumes filled the air. One man raised a Molotov, ready to light the fuse. Cover your eyes, Maya said, tossing a small device from her chair. The flashbang detonated as lightning cracked again. The combination was disorienting, overwhelming. She moved again. Sliding turns, sudden stops, precision strikes. Her attackers couldn't keep up. In the shadows, Javier Reese didn't engage. His hidden DEA radio buzzed softly, transmitting everything. His eyes met Maya's, just for a second. He knew who she really was. And now, she knew who he was, too. Sirens howled in the distance. Sheriff Trent's vehicles approaching fast. Perfect timing. Enough to show strength, not enough to leave bodies. "Drop your weapons!" Trent's voice boomed from a loudspeaker. Panic rippled through Orga's men. They scrambled back to their SUVs, dragging injured comrades through the mud. Maya watched silently as they retreated. She noticed Reese helping one of the wounded, staying in character, still gathering intel. Orga looked back once. "This isn't over," he promised. "Not even close." Moments later, Dr. Amara Patel's car skidded into the yard. She jumped out with her bag and went straight to the injured. "Anyone dead?" she asked briskly. "Just bruised," Maya replied. "Mostly egos." Trent stepped up beside her, eyes scanning the scene. Floodlights, shell casings, tire tracks, and 6 cartel men down. He shook his head. "You mind telling me how a disabled farmer just took down 6 cartel enforcers?" 7, Nina corrected, stepping out from the barn. "She got 7. Maya didn't answer. She was already checking her encrypted phone. A message popped up, real-time cartel movement reports. They hit Henderson's dairy farm and Gus Whitaker's place. "Casualties?" Trent asked, alarmed. Maya shook her head. "No, everyone followed the plans. We were ready." Lightning lit the yard once more, revealing scorched ground, scattered weapons, and one untouched wheelchair in the center of it all. Dr. Patel finished treating the last of the injured. She turned to Maya, eyebrow raised. "That's not standard wheelchair design, is it?" Maya smiled faintly. "Let's just say I had help adapting after my injury. The CIA hadn't abandoned her when she fell. They'd rebuilt her, retrained her, reinvented her. Now, as Trent's radio crackled with fresh reports, more farms attacked, more resistance encountered, it was clear. The cartel's night of fear had backfired. They thought they were breaking a town, but instead, they'd awakened a war. "You knew they'd try something like this," Trent said, glancing around the wreckage. Maya gave a slow nod. "Good farmers always plan ahead." She turned her wheelchair toward the barn, the storm's retreat revealing only temporary calm. Tonight was just the beginning. Inside, Nina helped her reset the backup security systems. Her hands trembled slightly, but her voice stayed steady. "What you did out there, that's not just CIA training, is it?" Maya kept her eyes on the monitors. "When you lose the ability to walk, you adapt. You either let it define you or you turn it into your edge." Her phone buzzed. A message from Javier Reese. "Orga's calling Mexico City. He's requesting heavy weapons. Reinforcements." "Get some rest," Maya told Nina. "Tomorrow we start teaching the others how to fight back." As dawn painted the sky over Hope Valley, Maya watched from her porch. The storm had passed, but something far greater was coming. Orga would be back, with more men, more firepower, and a clearer understanding of what and who he was dealing with. But Maya had something he didn't. A town that was no longer afraid, and 5 years of preparation, finally in motion. They thought they were coming for a disabled farmer. Instead, they awakened a warrior. Dr. Patel returned one last time before leaving. "Your legs are going to need treatment after everything you just pulled." Maya finally allowed the pain to surface. "Sometimes, you have to hurt a little to protect what matters." The doctor smiled gently. "Even ghosts need healing sometimes." As emergency vehicles cleared the farm, Maya pulled out her secure phone, typing messages to her network. The fight had drawn attention. Allies, enemies, and people still undecided. The war for Hope Valley was far from over, and she needed every advantage. Nina stood nearby, watching her mentor with new eyes. "What now?" she asked. Maya looked up from the latest intel. Cartel movement, reinforcements. "Now," she said coldly, "we show them what happens when they underestimate the wrong farmer." The morning revealed the full aftermath of the night's assault. Scorched earth at Henderson's dairy farm, broken gates at Whitaker's, bullet holes across 3 other properties. From the passenger seat of Maya's truck, Nina read from her tablet. 4 irrigation systems sabotaged, 2 barns vandalized, no deaths. "They weren't trying to kill," Maya said, studying fresh tire tracks. They were sending a message, but they got one back. At the Henderson farm, neighbors worked side by side, hammering, hauling, repairing, unity. The very thing the cartel had underestimated. Bill Henderson approached as Maya rolled through the muddy field. "Those cameras saved lives last night. We got out in time, thanks to you." "Now comes the hard part," Maya replied, "learning to defend what's yours." She'd arranged the farmyard for training, rakes, shovels, tools repurposed as makeshift weapons. Nothing illegal, nothing flashy, but everything effective. "First rule of farm defense," she announced to the group. "Use what you know. This land's given you everything. Now it's time to protect it." Meanwhile, not far away, Dante Orga watched from a modified SUV, binoculars pressed to his face. His phone buzzed with a message from his superiors. "Find her weakness. Everyone has one." His driver scoffed. "They're playing soldier with garden tools." "No," Orga said quietly, his mind replaying the chaos from the night before. "They're learning. That makes them dangerous." He picked up the phone. "Get me everything on Maya Blackwood's past. All of it." Back at Henderson's, Maya demonstrated tactical moves. Every technique built for people just like her. Your disability, your age, your fear, whatever you think is your weakness, she told them. That's your weapon. That's what they don't see coming. A sleek sedan pulled into the driveway, out of place in this world of mud and metal. A woman stepped out, dressed in designer clothes, eyes darting. Nina stiffened. "That's Lucia Orga," she whispered. "Dante's wife." Maya's hand moved to her wheelchair's concealed compartment. "Get everyone inside!" The farmers retreated quickly into the barn. Lucia raised her hands, voice trembling. "Please, I need your help." "Bold move," Maya said, her tone unreadable. "Coming here after what your husband just did?" "I'm not him," Lucia replied. "And what I know, it's bigger than land, bigger than water." But before she could say more, dust rose on the horizon. More vehicles, fast. Lucia turned pale. "He followed me. I was careful, but he followed." "Inside!" Maya barked, already activating alarms. "Nina, Protocol 3!" Orga's convoy roared into the yard, engines snarling, doors flinging open as armed men poured out. He spotted his wife and exploded. "You betray your family. For this." Lucia didn't flinch. "The real betrayal is what you're doing to this valley." But something felt off, too dramatic, too well-timed, too perfectly staged. Maya's radio crackled. "Maya," Sheriff Trent's voice came through. "We've got a problem. The surveillance footage from last night, it's been leaked, it's everywhere." Everything clicked at once. The timing, the public confrontation, the plea for help. Maya's eyes locked on Lucia's, and in that second, she knew she'd missed something. Something important. This wasn't just a warning, it was a setup. "You played it well," Maya said, eyes locked on Lucia. "Make yourself look like a victim. Draw us into the open." Lucia's face shifted. No more fear, just cold truth. "We needed to see what you were really capable of. Last night proved it." Dante stepped forward, calm now. "You really thought we wouldn't recognize those moves? That combat style? Only one operative ever fought like that. The ghost who killed my brother in Mexico City." Maya didn't blink. "If you know who I am, you know what I'm capable of." "Oh, we do," Dante said, raising a phone. A live feed showed Gus Whitaker's grandkids being watched outside their school. "So let's talk about the valley's future." Maya's options narrowed. For the first time since this war began, she realized she'd underestimated just how far Dante would go. But she wasn't alone. Nina gave her a subtle signal. In the shadows, Javier Reese, still undercover, had his shot lined up. "You assumed I was working alone," Maya said. Gunfire erupted, not from the farm. Her radio crackled. "Dr. Patel, school team in position. Kids are safe." Dante's advantage vanished, but he smiled. "My brother made the same mistake." "That's why I have a backup plan." Explosions lit up the valley. Farms burned. Maya's voice turned to steel. "Get everyone to the fires, now!" The real war had begun. From a makeshift command center in Henderson's barn, Maya coordinated emergency response. Surveillance feeds showed the full scope: sabotage, blackouts, organized arson. The cartel was escalating. And worse, Javier reported, heavy weapons were being moved to the old quarry, a strategic stronghold. They were setting up for something big. Even more disturbing? State police were interfering, except they weren't real. Cartel plants, bureaucracy as a weapon. Then Dr. Patel uncovered the truth. The cartel wasn't just after land or water. They were building a smuggling pipeline under the guise of agriculture. A lab hidden in a cartel vehicle revealed permits, names Maya recognized from her CIA files. They're setting up something global, she said, and Hope Valley's just the prototype. Then came the surprise. An old military jeep rolled in. Her father, KNX Blackwood, stepped out. Heard you might need a miner who knows those tunnels. Together they planned the next strike. The quarry would be the key. Using forgotten mining shafts, Maya and KNX infiltrated from below. Meanwhile, Dante positioned his forces for an assault, only to realize too late it was a trap. Explosions ripped through the quarry, ammo caches detonated, communications severed. DEA agents swept in. Javier dropped the final reveal. He'd been deep cover the whole time, but Dante had one last move, a threat on the hospital. Maya checked her feeds, wrong again. Nina's civilian defense teams were already in place. The hospital was protected. Still, damage had been done. Her father was poisoned. Dr. Patel confirmed. The compound was engineered, untraceable, and spreading. Maya faced an impossible choice: protect her father or stop the next attack. She chose both. Lucia returned, this time with a flash drive, and the truth. The cartel's next phase wasn't just control, it was biological warfare, distribution through public systems, the water, the food, and her father. He was one of the first targets. The antidote was in a lab, hidden inside an abandoned missile silo. Maya made the call. She and Lucia would go, a risky infiltration, just like Mexico City. Inside the hospital, Salazar, Dante's replacement, arrived. Former Black Ops, deadlier, unpredictable. But he made one mistake. He thought Maya was gone. In reality, she'd turned the hospital into a fortress. Every hallway, a trap, every camera, a weapon. While Salazar's team pushed deeper, she broke into the lab, retrieved the antidote, and uncovered the truth. Salazar wasn't seeking revenge. He was continuing the same covert program her mother had died trying to expose. A false flag weapon system disguised as cartel chaos. Maya returned in time. Salazar tried to gas the hospital. Maya beat him to it, venting neutralizing agent through the system. His plan collapsed. His men surrendered. Then came the final twist. Foreign operatives arrived, handlers, sent to clean it all up. Not cartel, not even CIA. Worse. But they weren't ready for her battlefield. She had built every trap, every fallback. Her allies, Javier, Nina, Dr. Patel, executed with precision. In minutes, professional kill teams were caught in a fortress built by a woman in a wheelchair they thought was powerless. One by one, lies were exposed, files sent to international media, covert programs unraveling. A global web of corruption traced back to one thing: infrastructure disguised as agriculture. When it was over, the media called her a hero, but Maya disagreed. The real heroes, she said, are the farmers who stood their ground, the communities that refused to break. Hope Valley became a symbol, a ghost that haunted those who tried to control it. And as other towns rose to fight back, one truth echoed louder than the rest. You can't bury a ghost that's built from truth.